hello. We are back for another wonderful week, and we are happy to be here. I am Sharon or Zare, and I'm here with my very handsome husband,
I'm
uh,
Mar.
or
How are you
Craig,
doing?
and we're just glad to be here. Hope
Exactly.
everybody is fine and having a great day today. I sound kind of
Oh, somebody called you on the phone and I did something wrong with the buttons. Go ahead.
yes, I that was that. That's at least that way you know that we're live.
Exactly.
So so anyway, um feeling better today?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, much better than I was before. My back kind of hurt. She took my
I
pillow
did
from my
not.
back.
It was in the chair
Uh huh.
and I just
Uh huh. She took the
left
pillow
it sitting
for
there.
my back.
There
Oh,
you go.
woo.
Yes.
I'm so
See,
glad. Hey, we got somebody already
I
watching.
I gave him I gave
Somebody.
him my pillow so he could be comfortable
Yes.
and I would not take it back
Well, thank you for very much. We got John watching already early this morning,
this evening.
this evening. Yes, Central Standard Time and whatever part of the world you're in, we're glad.
We're Eastern time.
Oh, exactly. Well, somebody else is watching the Central Standard Time. We do know that, and other
Yes.
places around the world.
Yes. So we are taking the journey together, and we are glad that you have come on this Thursday to be a part of our journey. And he's still doing his thing over here, and that's why. Uh, well,
I'm looking up,
yeah,
and you're not looking up.
I'm not looking up. But what I will do is share our belief statement with everyone. This
Go
is
right
how we get
ahead.
everything started all the time, and our belief statement says, we are going to relate. It doesn't matter what your mother says, your father says, your children, or even what Jesus says. We are going to relate. At taking the journey together, we believe in relating in a balanced manner. Balanced relationships are the ones that are entered into as friends first and lovers second, but has both aspects in each partner. And so that is where we are. So raise your hand if you are
Sure.
in, raise your hand if you're in a relationship where your partner is your friend. Now, here's my question. I'm wondering how many people are sitting there in their homes, in their cars or whatever, and they raise their hands because it's a habit. It's what when somebody said raise your hand, it's like, okay, here's my hand up.
Mm-hmm.
That's that
Mm-hmm.
that's that teacher thing that you can't get away from.
Mm.
Yeah.
The same way that you referred to just came to my mind about taking that for granted. Yep, that's the one that slipped out. Exactly. That's what happens many times when you raise your hand. Really, it's something that most of the time you took for granted. That's why you raise
Yeah.
your hand up,
Yeah.
because there was no surety in the first place that could happen.
Hmm.
But you raise your hand because most of the time you are what, taking it for granted, huh?
Yep. And we take a lot of things for granted,
Don't we?
especially when we're in relationships. We take for granted that that person is going to be there when we get home, or
Mm-hmm.
that person will be coming home soon,
Or they're not going to
or
ever change.
exactly, or or we'll take for granted, oh yeah, so and so is going to fluff my pillow for me, or you know the floor will get swept. Just different things like that, especially if they're things that our partner do for us all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then we really get to the point that we get comfortable with it, and sometimes we don't realize we're taking it for granted
No.
or taking them for granted, but that's how your partner feels, and so that's something that you should avoid at all costs.
Wow.
So
So we were talking about, what are we talking about? That word just like ding, ding,
avoidance.
ding. Oh my goodness. Are you telling me that's one thing we should avoid? That's a
Yes,
positive thing that we should
that's a
actually avoid?
positive thing that we should.
Taking
That's a
people for
no, no, no.
granted?
That's a negative thing that we
Yes.
should avoid,
How about
and that's how avoidance. That's where avoidance hits that positive point.
how about that word they're using now in the political world? We're talking about anti-avoiding. This is one of those things that you have a right to anti-avoid.
Yes, yes.
Anti-avoidance. How's that? We got a new one.
That
Anti-avoidance.
that's it. Anti avoidance.
Yeah,
Very
exactly.
good. Very good. So we are not going to anti-avoid anymore. But we're probably going to finish this one up today, we hopefully. But if not, we'll have another week, but we'll see. And we've got several people that are watching. So glad that you are watching and so glad that you are with us. And hopefully you are getting something that will strengthen your relationship or prepare you more for the relationships to come, relationship that's to come.
Exactly.
I didn't
Hey,
say that right. The
no, you
that's
didn't.
didn't come out.
What?
Yeah,
Where
blah,
are
blah, blah,
you?
blah. Yes.
Hey,
Easy for
hey.
me to say. I've been talking too much today. That's my problem.
I like
And so,
always, but not enough when you get home.
well,
That's the problem.
that's very true because
Hmm.
by the time I get home, I've talked out.
Yeah,
It's like,
well, that's no excuse because
it
sometimes
is
they say
not.
that us to us men. We have professional jobs, not professional jobs. And then we get to traditional, bad urban legend that if I come home, then I better not have anyone I better talk to. We believe that first. And then because I talk too much or had too much talking, oh, I just want to hear anymore. Or the other way around. Many times our mates say, you interns should be talking to me, even though yet you're at the job and you had a lot of talking, talk to me. Well, both don't make any of it right. Good
Exactly.
communication means we still need to communicate. If we communicate well on our job, we should be able to come home and
Yes.
communicate well on our home. And maybe what we should do in our balance is don't talk so much at the job if it's not your job. And then when you come home, get prepared to communicate well with
Mhm.
that mate when you get home.
Yes.
Don't make it avoid
And
it.
and I do try to balance that out where some days I don't talk as much. These last 3 days I
Most of
have
the time, you
had.
don't talk much. I'll be honest with you.
No, no.
Since I met you, you
I
haven't
mean,
much of a talker at
but
home.
at work, no, I haven't.
No.
At home, even when I was a child, I was quiet
Well, you're not a
at
child
home.
anymore. You
Yeah.
are a
No, no, no.
grown
I'm
woman.
just saying it's always been a part of me.
Hmm.
But my way. I would much rather listen
Hello, Mr.
than to
Mr.
talk.
Smith. How's that pronounced, you think?
That's a miss, Griselda.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you very much.
Griselda.
And I didn't avoid it. I did listen to you.
Yeah. so so yeah, so that's one of those things that I have got to stop avoiding is
Mhm.
uh coming home and saying I can't talk anymore unless of course I have a sore
Be,
throat, which I
be
get sometimes.
anti-avoidance.
Yes.
Be part of the new movement.
My
Be anti-avoidance
yes.
in the
Watch
relationship.
watch my new superpower. I am anti-avoider.
There you go. There you go.
Dun,
Please
dun,
stop.
dun. Yeah.
Mhm. Yes, please do. And that's, of course, go to you guys who do the same thing when you come back from work. You do the same thing. I want
Exactly.
to talk to her. But many times we end up in a bar and we talk the waiter to death, or we talk to the guy that's there,
The bartender or
their
whatever.
bartender,
Yeah.
or we talk maybe the lady at the bar to death. But yet we're like, I don't want to go home and talk when see it's another real problem. Hey, I'm,
That part of that is avoidance right
oh
there,
yeah, it is. Hey, I want to also show just in case Mr.
Julius.
Julius is watching. Julius, we've got your cups here. It says right on there, All Black Network. Well, we got that cup sometime before I was sick. Just wanted to make sure this time that you saw it and that we're drinking it. And we really appreciate drinking from it. Really appreciate it too. It's got our name beside. Turn
Yes.
around, sir, get close to the
I
camera.
got it.
We got our name. I don't know if they can see it because the
Yeah.
light's so bright, but
But they are
they got our
so
name.
cute and
Oh, yeah,
comfy in your
exactly.
hand. Yes.
Exactly. Let me get some because my voice is still going.
Yes. And so, I never thought about anti avoiding being a thing and a thing that we need
I think that a thing, a
to
thing.
participate in.
Well, sometimes we take it for granted. We do.
Yes.
Hey, I just want to put up a share with your friends, share with your neighbors. Please go out and share it a lot.
Yes.
I'm hoping our friend hasn't given up on us. She's been so nice coming around.
No, and from what I understand, she might have gotten caught out and still be on her way in
Yeah,
to be a
exactly.
part of it. I will text her in a few minutes just to find out.
Hmm. Well, I'm going to use our last time because we're using videos a lot to get things prepared for our show,
Mm-hmm.
and making sure that the videos kind of they always will follow up with our topic. So just make sure that when we do a topic, many times we'll have a video just to start it off and trigger it.
Yeah, and the video is connected,
Y-
very well connected.
Yeah, I can't see anything
Hmm?
exactly, and I'm blind too.
Well, no, no, no. I was just out. Oh, I see what you said. I was reiterating what you said. That's all. It
Yeah,
because it
I
is.
know.
It's very well. It's very well connected. It meshes
Yeah, I
very
know.
well. Yeah, I was just
Yeah, okay,
reiterating.
well, thank you.
I think I should have avoided that statement, huh?
Yeah, I think you really should have avoided that one. So watch
Okay.
for us in the future. We're going to try to make sure we have topics that are on the cutting edge that young folks are talking about, especially when it comes to relationship, because they're just now moving down that path and they need some wise statement. And many of them are still basically out there doing their best, seeing what the parents didn't do, what others are not doing, and they're really doing a fantastic job coming up with questions,
Hmm.
coming up with the answers. Some of them don't have much experience, but some of them have went to schooling and went to colleges and in turn maybe got some degrees or some counseling degrees and coaching degrees. But most of them probably don't have much experience. So
Yeah.
we're trying to bring the experience right along to kind of help out, but we want to make sure that we're on the cutting edge from the standpoint of those who are voicing those concerns and those
Hmm.
problems. And hopefully we can help you out with some kind of information, some kind of knowledge to help you rebuild yours, expand yours. Of course, always being something to make your relationship better as you grow with your relationship and you
Yeah.
take that journey together. Okay.
Absolutely.
So let's get to that one. Let me find it again. Share the screen.
So in
What
the
was it?
meantime,
Yeah.
um,
Really quick.
have you think of this is something for the people who are watching to think
Well, I
about?
guess not.
Have you
Won't be done.
been more aware of situations in which you or your partner have been avoiding things? Um, it's sometimes when we talk about these things, they come up as um, being more pronounced, where they're right up in the forefront. We have some of the things that we talked about were fear of conflict, reasons for avoidance, reasons why things that people use to excuse their avoidance or explain their avoidance. Fear of conflict, which is avoiding arguments. Maintaining peace, which is still, and to some extent, avoiding arguments. Desire to maintain control, which is a power dynamics. And gaslighting, which is also a part of controlling. You're controlling the conversation, you're controlling how somebody feels, you're controlling, what they think about what they have said or what you are indicating or trying
And
to say.
we're going to talk a little bit more about that because that's something I see prominent in relationships, something that even you do and have did a lot in a relationship. So we see that
Yeah.
many times,
Yeah.
especially when you have a strong-willed male or strong-willed female. For me, I came up with a strong-willed mother.
Yeah.
And as an African American mother, being very strong-willed, not saying other cultures don't have strong-willed mothers.
Oh, because they do.
Exactly. But at least from my story, my experience, it was my
Hmm.
mom was an African American woman. And some of the women that I dated who were very strong willed, like my mom. Like usual, we end up marrying or dating people who are like our first particular parental examples. So I married and in turn dated a lot of women who were like my mom. And many of them very being strong willed, whether they're passively like you or
Hmm.
more aggressive, like some of them I can mention in the past. They did use a lot of manipulation, or in this case, gaslighting to kind of get what they want when it came to influencing
Hmm.
things to dealing with
Yeah.
me. So we want to
and
talk
and
about
when
it
you
because that's a
say
strong
and when
thing
you
that's
say
used.
get what they want, it's not always um or tangible things. It's
Oh
not,
no, 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 no,
it's
no.
not,
Even though that was
because
also par for the course
yep, it could be, but I
for my
just don't.
story. Oh yeah, I was par for the
Yeah.
course. And some of the guys that I've talked with, because I, always had was a sounding board for a lot of the guys.
Hmm.
They would in turn end up talking about the same thing, where they had that same kind of problem too with some of the women that they were with,
Yeah.
where it was exactly the same thing that was happening to them. To be
Hmm.
honest with you,
Okay.
from that end. So before we go into that, was you finished?
Yeah.
Because I want to go ahead
Yeah,
and
no,
start
I
my
was
video.
just kind of filling space while you were looking for
Okay.
the video. So no, I was
Well,
just
I have
gonna.
found the video.
Okay.
Now I need to put it up there the way we. Wow, look at how small it's got.
Yeah. Everything is tiny.
You know why, don't you?
Nope.
Because we got the screen bigger for somebody, but we won't talk about it.
I don't.
Okay.
Oh, you did get it. Make it.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's so unnecessary.
That was why we did that.
Yeah,
Okay, so how we got it now better now. Here we go.
a little bit.
Yeah, what's bigger now is the best we can get it right now. Okay, so let's get this going so people can at least
Okay.
get a chance to listen to it. Here we go.
Feelings of abandonment. Come here, baby. Let me talk to you. Just think about it. Whenever you're reluctant to actually engage in discussions about feelings, you're creating emotional distance. Or whenever you withdraw from conflict, if your go to in a crisis or in a vulnerable moment is to retreat, what do you think is happening? You're destabilizing the foundation of your relationship. And so, in that sense, how can they trust you? And if they don't trust you, how can they feel secure emotionally? If they don't feel secure emotionally, if they feel like they're the ones who are doing most of the work when it's a fight or a conflict, it's just simply them, that makes them feel lonely. And if you're going to retreat and run away, that's going to make them feel abandoned. And in this sense, you can't say that they're just imagining this because it's real. It's actually happening in the now. There's proof that you run whenever there needs to be a vulnerable moment or anything related to feelings. So, for that person who's actually seeking that connection, your avoidance is making them feel lonely. And that feels very one sided. It makes for a very lonely, one sided relationship. So then this creates this emotional gap. You have one person who is seeking reassurance because you may be the person who's invalidating them, and they're constantly pursuing you, which is causing you to run away. Do you see how this is creating conflict and chaos? Then we have this pursue withdrawal cycle that's full of resentment and tension and distress. The one thing you don't want to do is signal that you don't value that relationship, but your avoidant tendencies typically do. And it's that perception that intensifies those feelings of abandonment. Think about a person having to navigate alone, solve alone, process alone, feel alone, regulate alone. Think about that. That's kind of what you're making them do. Your avoidant behaviors and tendencies protect you, but they're not protecting your relationship. Wish you all the best. Happy, healthy relationships. Bye, babies.
Sorry, we're back now. We're unmuted. Go right ahead.
Yeah, and what I was getting ready to say, one of those things that she stated was that you're not protecting your partner. You're protecting yourself, but you're not protecting your partner or your relationship when you avoid things. And that's one of those things that has stuck with me. And I have made a concerted effort to try and make sure that I don't do that. And is that saying that I don't do it ever again anymore? No, it says that I am definitely making myself more aware of it so that I can be in a position where I don't continue to do it. Because we do things sometimes that we don't realize because it's something that we just automatically do.
Take it for granted. That's what I was talking about the
Exactly.
first time.
Or it's a bad habit.
Or it's been passed down.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, when I talked about it dealing with my mom being a very strong will a woman, one of the things she did a lot, which was, is what I brought up the first time, did a lot of gaslighting,
And that's one of
which
your
was part of
triggers too.
avoidance. Oh, it is. It used to
Yeah.
bother me to death when she did that, how it made me feel kind of, I'm sorry, a little bit, made me feel like I wasn't valued, made me feel like I
Hmm.
wasn't important, made it feel like everything she said was like the sound and thunder of goddess from up above. And if it did not come to pass the way she said it, or I balked with it, then I either got shouted at, cussed at, or she was going to beat my booty. You remember how about this, LL Cool J? Mama gonna knock you out. You can scream. She would scream and shout. My mom would knock you out from that
Wow.
particular. But again, that of course was not healthy relationship action expression,
Hmm.
but it rubbed off a lot. And then of course in life, I was drawn to a lot of sisters who are like that, and we see that a lot in a lot of our stereotypes in movies that come from who's the guy that does the movie sometimes that we talk about, that does
Tyler
Tyler
Perry.
Perry and other movies even before that.
Hmm.
We see that as a bad stereotype. We know that all black women do that, but we find that stereotypes, like every stereotypes, have a little bit of the truth in that. And
Yeah.
of course, my story was I lived with someone that was very much part of that particular truth.
Hmm.
And she definitely used an avoidance from not getting to the truth of the matter, or the feelings of transparent the matter. She used a lot of gaslighting from that end, but she was upfront with the gaslighting. She's not what we're talking about today, which a lot what you do sometimes. Yes, this innocent sister does that, and everybody thinks she does. You do a lot of passive gaslighting from that end. I think down south they used to say you better watch for those quiet sisters because they what they
That
possums. They
that
play
used
possum. That's
that
what they
used
say.
to drive me
So you
crazy.
heard it before.
Oh, I heard it all the time, and older people would say it, and they would look at me like, because I was very quiet, and they would look at me like I was up to no good, or I was, doing things behind the backs of my parents that I shouldn't have any business doing. And I'm like, I'm innocent. You all are pointing fingers at me, and I've not done a thing. And so yeah, I hated that statement because of that. That put me in a position of ooh, it put me in a position where I felt I needed to defend myself.
Well, that's probably one of the
Mhm.
reasons why you start creating gaslight statements as part of the avoiding of it
Mhm.
and not being upfront and saying what bothers you. Or you could have, because we don't know which one started, chicken or eggs. I believe, of course, knowing your family background and how you in turn gained some of your vulnerability, it really started from that. I'll be honest with you. But I also think you use, whether it came first or not, you use gaslighting statements to keep people off of you so that you can in turn avoid what the real situation that could be hurting you or bother you
Oh
instead
yeah.
of being transparent up front.
Yeah, I definitely, that is definitely a learned behavior
Yeah.
over time. But the thing of it is, learned behaviors can be unlearned.
Yes.
But they, just as it takes a while for them to be learned, it takes even longer for them to be unlearned, because generally you live with them without knowing that you're living with them for so long that once you realize it and you think this is something that I don't want to be associated with me, then you have to retrain, untrain, de-brainwash, desensitize
Hmm.
yourself, and you have to do all of this pretty much simultaneously whenever the situation comes up. And so you have to do it over and over and
Yeah.
over and over again until it's no longer
It
there. So
becomes
it's not an overnight fix.
so basically what we're talking about is a lot of our bad habits, a lot of our baggage, a lot of the things that trigger us or trigger other people, or toxicity, if you may want to call,
Hmm.
has a lot to do with what people call our inner subconscious.
Yeah.
And our subconscious, of course, does not necessarily look at the reality. It will create a reality that's been there from the past,
Hmm.
that's been part of the route manual or been passed on from generations to you. And it in turn will play that back, even though the reality of the situation exists completely different.
Right.
And we rely upon many times our past in our of subconsciousness tapes to actually create our reality. So it becomes a vicious cycle. Some
Hmm.
people say it becomes like madness.
Yeah.
It happens over and over again. So undoing that is very important. I think the simplicity things that we have to do sometimes to undo it is, first of all, we need to recognize it. It's almost like the alcohol credo, which is when you start becoming aware of the fact that you're alcoholic, aware of the problems you've had, and not take it for granted that it's just part of life, or if because your family did it,
Hmm.
because your mom is dead, your dad is
Yeah.
dead, or my girlfriend is dead, or I saw my society and community do it. Therefore, it's just a natural way or natural order of life when it's not.
Hmm.
Then that alcohol route, which I had to deal with because at one time I was a very hard, strong alcoholic, passed on from my fathers, which a lot of black fathers and black men have, especially after certain wars, which I think created a lot of fathers who got into alcoholic coming back
Hmm.
from, war fighting
Yeah.
for America and then coming back to
But
America giving no damn about them. So alcohol was a good way for them to hide.
and when you think about it, some of them didn't even have to go to war, because every day, depending on where they lived and what they were trying to do, every day was going out to war.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So the undoing has to do first with acknowledging, okay,
Hmm.
before we go too far down the path. And the next thing to do after acknowledge it is, of course, you acknowledge it after you don't take it for granted and you understand that it's something, as you said, that you can heal from, you
Yes.
can do better from. But that acknowledgement is that door that
Hmm.
first opens things up. And then I think a spiritual route is important, then that we then take the appreciation that we first have knowledge and conscious of the fact that this is a concern and a problem that I have.
Yes.
Sometimes we don't realize that when we become conscious of a problem that we have, that it is something that in turn we should be appreciative of, because our taking it for granted could be something we take with us to the grave.
Mm-hmm.
And we hurt other people and destroy other people's life, our kids and others, not even being conscious of it. As you know, many alcoholics, I think about my uncle, I think about my dad, who did things to in turn hurt me, hurt his kids, and hurt uncles with other ones, because they took it to the grave, not knowing the alcohol, what was actually doing to them and others. So the acknowledgement and appreciation, of knowing it is coming with that consciousness is that first thing. And we talked about before that with acknowledgement, you then open up the door to blessings.
Right.
That next blessing has to do with you becoming more aware of those things, of those habits, of those words, of those thoughts, of those feelings that basically are causing this problem, this disruption, this exposure, or this toxic exposure that you could start moving into and start making that change. What do you think about that?
Oh, I agree with you 100%, because, that is one of those areas that we skip over, and that's the acknowledgement area. We not only take for granted the fact that we are above hurting somebody that we love, we also take for granted that we're not hurting anybody. We're not doing anything that is wrong, and sometimes that's because we're avoiding seeing ourselves for what we really are. We're avoiding looking at the fact that everybody has the capability of hurting somebody, whether it is intentional or unintentional. But it is what you do before or after that hurt.
Exactly.
Do you put things in place so that you are aware of when you are about and the worst thing you can say is get over it, or turn to that person and say, I didn't hurt you. I wouldn't have hurt you if you hadn't hurt me, or I wouldn't have hurt you if you hadn't caused me to.
Oh,
And that's passing that blame.
well,
That's still
that's another thing that we can talk about when it comes into the area of, I did a poem about it in one of the books I had. If you say you're sorry, are you really sorry?
Yeah.
I mean, there are different steps in turn of apologizing to some people. One of them comes to my mind is restoration and then restitution.
Yes.
Those are the things that you're talking about. We'll talk about that another time, but that's very, very important.
Yeah.
But one thing is for sure in this matter that we're talking about is you don't dive so much into your sorrow in that matter, just like they do when it comes to the alcoholic thing, by bypassing that, first of all, that you what? Are that.
Yeah.
You recognize that you are alcoholic. The recognition that you all are alcoholic takes some time to be able to deal with and sink in, because you've been going through so many years of just taking it for granted that it was.
Yeah.
And the chemical structure of how alcohol has you not really be clear in your own mind of how can I say it, has you hooked on physically through you. Been part of my life, and that actually been expressing myself this way. That has to become clearly to you.
Exactly.
So let's move on to our commercial.
Our break.
Oh, thank you. Whew, I keep forgetting that. And then we will be right back. So stay tuned. Hold on to your hats. Hold on to your, what else they need to hold on to?
Well, hey, that's up to them.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Hey there. Are you ready to amplify your voice and embrace your passion? Tune in to Our Black Media Network, where community comes first and every story matters. We're here 24/7, delivering powerful content on everything from financial literacy to the latest in sports and mental health. We are unapologetically real, reflecting the heartbeat of our community with programs that inspire, empower, and drive change. Join us on all major media platforms to celebrate our unique voices and advocate for the change we want to see. With over 50K monthly viewers, our network is your go-to destination for authentic, engaging content. Be a part of the movement. Be a part of the change. Tune in to our Black Media Network today and let your voice be heard.
All right, we are back. We are back. We are back. We are going to try to finish this up today if all possible. Let's go through some of the stuff where people can find us.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's one that we can give real quickly, but how about this one first? Go ahead.
Okay. Every Saturday, 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time,
Excuse me.
you can find us talking about healthy and thriving relationships on WRUU.org. And we are there every Saturday. I think I did
Yes.
say that.
Yeah, we're back. Yes.
Yes. And so 9 to 10 a.m. So wherever you are, and it is possible if you go on the site that you can go back and check out some of our past shows also.
Exactly. Where else can they find us?
They can find us
Email us too.
at exactly. Our email is
Couple of close.
okay, takingthejourney.com. Okay, I'm sorry. I came
Right below.
closer and I lost myself.
Right below. Let's come back around.
Instagram is taking the J together. Telephone number 912-421-8862. Now, let
And-
me try this again.
Okay.
You can on the website, it's takingthejourney-together.com.
Wear your glasses next time.
I know, it's just I forgot. Taking TTJT at takingthejourney-together.com is our email.
Exactly. Pretty soon we're going to have all our archives from the radio program right on our website, so you can
Yes.
actually go there or try to get some of the shows that we did on this very great channel up on our website. So you can always go to our website and take care of that.
Yes.
We're going to have some giveaways too
Yeah.
real soon,
Mhm.
and be looking
Oh.
for us coming to your city or coming someplace to be able to do a work shop as I get
Yes.
much better physically, and as we get much better when it comes to our relationship. We're looking
And
for
if-
also sponsors. I'm sorry.
I'm
So
sorry.
we're looking for sponsors who like to sponsor this information that you're getting that, quite frankly, we know it's worth money in other places. They would charge you, especially since we are certified relationship coaches, but we know others would charge you for this, and we'll give it to you free. So please look at sponsoring
Well,
us,
right now.
and in turn help us be able to spread the word
Yes.
and spread the love too at the same time. Okay, where were we? And we're gonna get right back.
Absolutely. We were going to probably go into talking about some of the things that are going to continue with this, so we can move through what we are doing.
Yes. We were going to talk about you avoiding the word
Gaslighting.
gaslight. Look at how
Yes.
did you notice how she avoided that?
Um,
Did you notice how she avoided that? Oh
She
my God.
did.
Yeah,
she
she
did
avoided
because she was
that.
trying to get herself into position with the right. Yeah, okay. When she's talking off the top of her head, sometimes because she's trying to regroup, she doesn't know where she's going.
What I was saying, what I was getting ready to say, the transparent truth is she didn't look up at the script, at
I,
the notes.
I did, but
She should have had it in her head already, but
no,
she
no,
did.
I did, but I lost where we were.
Okay,
So
well, here we
yeah,
are. We're back
and so
here
that's
again.
what I was trying to do was find where we were.
We're back here
So we're
again.
going to talk about
Gaslighting.
passive gaslighting.
Okay, we'll let you start with it, and then maybe you'll stay on track.
Yes, passive gaslighting in a relationship is a subtle form
Mm-hmm.
of emotional manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
Mm-hmm.
emotional manipulation, where the gaslighter undermines their partner's reality without direct confrontation.
That's why we call
And
it passive. Okay,
yes,
it's
yes.
basically it's not direct. I'm not shouting. I'm not cussing at you. I'm not being loud. And if I tap on the keyboard, it's just not all in caps.
Tat, 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 tat. Okay, that's
Exactly.
not passive either.
Exactly. Well,
When people
anyway,
do that,
they call it usually. It's another word they will call this. It's called being passive aggressive.
aggressive.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And one of the examples is selective memory. Ooh, we have had selective memory all of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Our parents can tell us to do something, you know, make sure you sweep the floor in your room. Okay, did you sweep the floor in your room? When? When I told you to. When did you tell me to?
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, sometimes though, selective memory is because you weren't paying attention when you should have been,
Mm-hmm.
and so you truly did not hear it. And so you just set yourself up not to hear it.
Exactly. But we're not talking about those
No,
times.
it's constantly forgetting events or conversations that are important to your partner, and we're all guilty of that. But it's not
Get your right on
it's
the
not
shoulder.
just being guilty of it. It's being guilty of it constantly.
Stereotypical in the passive world, it's usually something that stereotypically has been attached to males.
Yeah,
Come on, let's admit
yeah.
it.
But
It's been attached to males. You see the movies, you see the TV shows, you in turn know it in your own life. I
mhm.
know guys who are like that. There's been sometimes I did the same thing too, especially with my mom. Oh, there's no doubt about it. I use passive aggressive gaslighting in such a way that was consistently, especially with her, because I didn't
Mhm.
want to see fallout or blow up on me because she'd gaslight back and burn me up. I would
Her light
constantly,
was stronger than yours, huh?
exactly act like I forgot something that she told me to do,
Mhm.
and would say sheepishly, "Oh, I forgot." What? I forgot. And then she just would ream me out. Go ahead.
So yeah, well, I'm sitting here and I'm imagining that actually happening,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I can see it oh so clearly. Um, but the thing of it is when we sometimes it is unintentional, but quite often it is intentional, and sometimes we do it just because we don't want to do what we've been asked to do. And that is true manipulation. That is straightforward manipulation right there.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing, oh, and see, and this is what inadvertently I am guilty of, which
Mm-hmm.
is the silent treatment. And
Wow.
so, but in my
Yeah,
case,
read the whole thing. Come on,
okay,
so people can understand.
silent
So they can go
treatment
to your own
is
testimony.
withdrawing emotionally or physically without explanation, leaving the partner to question what they did wrong. And I can get into my feelings and I won't talk about it. I'll avoid talking about it because and that's one of my triggers. I'll avoid talking about it because in the past I have been in relationship where if I talked about it, I was either whining, I was either taking it overboard, I was totally ignored for
No
my
excuses,
feelings.
alcoholic.
No, no, no. I'm saying these are the things that
I
I have
know, but no
felt.
excuses, alcoholic, for taking up that bottle and drinking it anyway.
Exactly. But I'm saying these are the triggers for that. And so now that I am aware of it, I'm trying to
Put the bottle down.
exactly. I'm trying not to pick the bottle up.
There you go. That means put it down there.
Exactly.
Not while you
just there we go.
Yeah.
We went
What
for a
happened?
minute. I don't
That's
know, but
interesting.
we kind of
Oh, because we
blacked
got a
out for a minute.
because it's weak connection, but it's not on all sides. It's over on the
The
internet side that has to do with the connection of the company itself. But anyway,
okay,
we still
yeah,
move on because
and
we want
so
to finish this.
exactly, and so but the silent treatment is it's not. You know how some people they will go days
It's a
without talking.
stereotype still that
Yeah,
many times these stereotypes are given to males.
not
That
the
males
silent
are the
treatment.
ones many times will play the silent treatment in that relationship with that female where they won't say anything for days, months, or what sometimes even
That's
for
usually
years you know nothing
women.
about it.
It's usually women
Well,
that will go into
that's
that
very
thing and
exciting for you
walk
to say
away.
that
Yeah.
because I know a lot of us who are listening, and a lot of my experience
Hmm.
has been, and the stereotypes is usually movie and TV is usually in turn done with men who do that or play the
Yeah.
silent treatment, strong and
Yeah.
silent, all that good stuff. When in turn we know it's both sides,
Yeah.
and now
It definitely
you're giving
is.
that side
It
of it.
definitely is. I had this one girl I worked with, and she was constantly,
Hmm.
having instead of having an argument with her husband, she would, I haven't talked to him in a month. I'm like, how you gonna not talk to him
And
in a
do that
month?
right in the same house walk on. Let's move on.
Exactly.
Let's move on. We
So
got the point.
yes, minimizing feelings, subtly dismissing or downplaying your partner's emotions or concerns. So it doesn't matter. Oh, get over it. It's not that big of a deal, type of thing. And so that's minimizing feelings.
Hello,
Shift.
Robert. Is that Robert?
Uh huh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead. I'm
Yep.
sorry.
Shifting responsibility, indirectly blaming your partner for issues in the relationship without explicitly stating it. That one, I guess, is that like saying um, you did something when saying that your partner did something
I'll
when
give you an
really,
example that when I say
okay.
this, everybody will know. And I'm going to use it because many times it falls on us males too. We are out there having an affair with another particular woman.
Mm-hmm.
And in turn, the guilt is really messing with us. You get a whiff, a smell, or unction of it. Or maybe your girlfriend calls. Anyway,
Hmm.
and when we're around you, we could feel it, we could think it, we can smell it, or whatever you may want to call it. And the guilt's so bad, we avoid it as much as possible. And then when it's asked or brought up to us in such a way, not directly, indirectly, or maybe the guilt's so bad it bubbles up it, we do a gaslighting statement, which is, hey, what guy are you seeing? Or what text are you getting? Or who are you talking to at work?
Yeah.
And then we get more gaslighting of, we know you've been on that phone, or why are you coming home late?
Yeah.
And that's never been a problem before, but
Right.
now it becomes a real problem. That's a gaslight statement that I'm or someone's using to avoid the fact that I have guilt in me of the relationship that I'm actually have on the side. I mean, that's a whole thing. It's
Yeah.
called transferring
Transference. Uh huh.
from that end. So that's another example that
Mm.
happens.
Okay.
Okay. Shifting that
Mm.
responsibility
Yeah.
onto someone else.
Withholding information, keeping the partner out of the loop on important matters, then acting surprised when they don't know.
Ooh. Ooh, I guess that don't happen any place here now, does it?
Never.
Uh-huh.
Um, and it used to happen a lot more than it does now
Mm-hmm.
because I became aware of it. And once, like we said earlier, once you are aware, it is your responsibility to do something about it.
Yeah.
And so I've been doing something about it, making it a point to not do that. Rewriting history. Oh, that's oh, that's one of my issues. It drives me crazy when people do that.
Mm-hmm.
Gradually altering the narrative of past events to favor the gaslighter's perspective.
Yes. Yes.
Oh
Bring
man, that
something to
drives
the
me
attention
crazy.
that's a reality. Oh no, that's not what happened.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not what happened.
Or just right out
Oh,
the blue, tell it in a different way.
exactly. Exactly. They make it seem like you got Alzheimer's and you're 20 years old.
Yeah.
Or make it seem like you forget things when the person who basically in turn denied the story, they are the ones who had the habit of what? Forgetting.
Exactly.
Most of the time when they do that gaslighting, they're trying to make you feel guilty over something
Mm-hmm.
that they themselves are not doing or want to avoid or don't want
Yes.
to pay attention to.
Yes.
Or basically take it for granted that that's what you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. And so that's rewriting history is one that just kind of sets my spine on edge.
Exactly. Exactly. What's another one? Because
Playing the victim.
playing the victim.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Consistently positioning themselves as the wronged party, making the partner feel guilty for expressing needs.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the victimizing role.
Mm-hmm.
Many, going back to the examples that have to do, because I've been in that before, I've counseled with people that before, actually
Mm-hmm.
been one of the people in one of those many meetings, AA meetings, as they call it. Many times, those in the AA meetings, they do very strongly set themselves up as saying, I'm the victim. And the
Yes.
alcohol makes them drown in the strong feeling of I have a right to be the victim because the whole world is not on my side
Mm-hmm.
and is against me.
Yes. And I think that's also something that you learn early on how to do,
Yeah.
and you play into it so much that it just becomes a, how do you
In
say,
my
a,
lot in life,
yeah, exactly,
there's some people that
exactly.
have a belief system in connection to going a little bit wider with this that has to do with the systematic racism that is in this country that
Mm-hmm.
was built on people who were enslaved that look like us, that we basically were cursed by God, and it is and was our purpose to be servants and slaves for people who did not look like us, white folks, in so many words, and therefore it was predestined for us to be that way. And we many times had that same belief system, believing that particular kind
Yeah.
of gaslighting statement. And you see that gaslighting still goes on today when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to us people of color, and we carry that many times to our relationship,
Yeah.
where we actually feel, as what you were talking about, we deserve this kind of victimization.
Mm-hmm.
Even in our relationships, we feel we deserve to be treated this way, and we pass it on. Remember, I told you
Right.
last time we talked, we have sometimes our black mothers and black fathers who will tell little kids, "You little demon, you little devil." I've been there many times and seen them actually say to the kids and
Mm-hmm.
see that the meaning of the kids coming up feeling that way. Or now, many times, you're another gangster. You're another
Yeah.
killer.
Yeah.
Or of course, society say you're a monster, and then it's glorified, and then we in turn wonder why they act the way they act, and wonder why the relationships don't continue on because you're carrying on that
Yeah.
gaslight with you,
they
and you
they
figure that's how you
they
are.
live down to the expectations
Exactly.
of the person who they look up to
Yeah,
had for them, and that is still just another form of transference.
that is. Yeah.
So yeah. um, Denying through omission, not
Mm-hmm.
directly lying, but failing to acknowledge or confirm the truth when asked. Oh my gosh, I had a big deal on that today
Mm-hmm.
in
How's that?
class. There was, yesterday, they were supposed to start working on an essay, and they had to, get some information. And rather than them saying, I don't understand this, can you explain this a little bit more? They started Googling, or they would go into Chat GPT and have things done. And I have, we have the capability of going into a particular program and seeing everybody's computer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went into it just to see where they were, make sure they weren't, watching basketball or football or something like that. And I saw four students who were in Chat GPT, who were Googling to get exactly what they needed for this essay. And so I told them to close their computers and put it away. I was going to the copy machine to,
Mm-hmm.
and so I went to make copies, so they had the speeches that they needed, not on the computer, because it would have been easy for them to just copy and paste it, but no, they had to do it the other way now. And so when I went out, because I said I could see people on Chat GPT and on Google and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. Um, this one kid I didn't realize, but at the time while I was gone, he said, "She got me." I was on Chat GPT, and several of the kids basically verbally attacked him for saying that. Yet some of the people who I saw doing this were sitting right around them, and none of them said anything.
Okay.
None of them came to his rescue. So That's what I mean.
Yeah, not directly lying, but failing to not confirm the truth.
Yeah,
The people that attacked him, were they going to tell the truth on themselves, or they in turn to God on him for doing it in the first place?
they got on him
Doing it in the first
for
place.
doing it in the first place,
Okay.
but the ones who were actually doing it didn't
Didn't say
come to
anything.
his
Rescue.
rescue
Oh, they didn't want to squeal.
on themselves.
Exactly.
You
Well,
know,
we understand that today. They want to do that.
yeah,
Okay, go on to the next one. Normalizing what?
normalizing abnormal behavior, gradually pushing boundaries and treating increasingly problematic behavior as normal.
You know what I say? That's what you call, like today in the political environment, doubling down. They have the old saying, you could always say you're sorry after you said something that hurt somebody. And if
Yes.
they challenge you so much, just double down and say, so what? Or I saw you did it before.
Yeah.
Like two wrongs still make you right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
today. You see that in the political climate that
Yeah.
happens a lot, don't it?
And
And people in a relationship
and
to
it's
do the same
spilling.
thing.
I was getting ready to say it's spilling over into regular lives also.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. What's the next one?
Playing ignorance or innocence, pretending
Mm.
not to understand the partner's concerns or requests, making them explain repeatedly. So why did you say that?
Excuse me?
So why did you say that?
I don't know.
I don't understand, why you had me do that, because it just wasn't the thing to do. So that's
I don't know
playing
what you're talking about.
that's but you did it.
I don't even remember it at all.
And that's playing ignorance. Let me refresh your memory. I'll turn into your mother real quick.
How many sitcom shows have we seen back all the way from, I don't know, Alice, all the way from Good Times, all the way, well, Good Times, not much, but moving on up. What was that on the east side? Who was that from? The Jeffersons, Archie Bunker, and the rest. How that same kind of thing. It was mostly males who did
Yeah,
that.
a lot of them. And that also goes back to what you were
Mhm.
talking about of having somebody on the side. What are you talking about, huh?
Mm-hmm,
Men are known for that. That's a male stereotype. And we have to get away from the stereotypes,
mm-hmm.
because we are, every time we fall back on those, we are just strengthening the negativity that has been built up and overplayed about us in our behaviors.
Yeah, it falls
Yeah.
hard on us men many times to get the perception that we're all the authors and creators of it,
Mhm.
when not necessarily. I mean, that same kind of, let's say, negativity, that same kind of toxicity, that same kind of bad stuff. You can
Right.
see that while we're talking, as we're presenting it, it can very easily come from females, and
Yeah.
have came from females in
Yeah.
the past.
And that's the thing. All of these stereotypes that focus on the male, or the ones that focus on the female, what is overlooked is the fact that the opposite gender is doing it just as much.
One is
It's
just kind of brought more to the highlight. Sometimes one is more honored, exploited,
mhm,
and pretty much said it's part of their human nature, which is
exactly.
not very true. I always connect that to when people say you are acting like an animal. I think that is a not only gross over characterization, but I also think it's derogatory, because when I look at many of the animal shows I watched growing up, Mutual of Omaha, and now we have new ones dealing with nature itself. We see nature many times with animals, whether they are lions, tigers, and bears. Many times
Oh my.
we see them more gracefully acting between one another,
Mhm.
more loving acting with one another, and now they have unique ones where they act more loving and caring cross species than one another.
Yes.
We have cats who are being friendly to dogs and vice versa.
Yes.
Where you're having maybe antelopes being treated halfway decent by lions. I mean, I'm seeing them all the time coming into my Facebook. And you have to begin to understand that some of those stereotypes were just set up in lies, and they were not necessarily truthful
Oh,
whatsoever,
absolutely.
just to set a a script up and make it a good guy, bad guy,
Yes.
or
Or
good woman or bad woman, or us
exactly.
against them
Either way,
situation.
there had to be some negative.
Exactly. It
And the
wasn't really
negative
anything that
was
was balanced.
exploited.
That becomes what, hey, this is part of this human nature.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be this way.
Yeah.
You can, in turn, find a balance in how you treat one another and be with one another.
And
Yeah.
it's not across the board,
Yeah.
not at all. But guess what?
Yep.
We're out of time.
Yeah, we are.
And so this has been another one of those enjoyable um, evenings that we have spent, and hope you have enjoyed it too. We are taking the journey together and hope the journey that you're taking is just as enjoyable with your partner.
Next week, we will have a whole new topic, so stay tuned. Be with us. Hope we'll have our young lady back. Hope we haven't scared you away, Milani, and the young man who was with us. We want to see you there. Hopefully, we'll get Dr. Frazier back again. Hopefully, we haven't scared him away. Hopefully, my presence haven't scared you. We always want you to be part of what we're doing. And our guests who come and listen to be part of what we do. Remember, you can always put questions in. We'll try to answer them too far possible.
I like this.